Hello VC, I thought I would take part in this vinyl tag. I've rearranged the order of these questions a bit. So let's start. First one, how many records do you own? I have actually lost count at some point, but I own somewhere between 3,500 and 4,000. That includes vinyl and CD, full-length albums and EPs, not including singles. Second question, what kind of record player do you have? My record player plays fine, sounds fine, but other than that, it's a piece of shit. Next question, 3. What is the first record you got? My first record was self-titled album by Matchbox, released in 1979, and I got it in summer of 1980. I still have that record, but I don't have it here with me. It's in my brother's record shelf, where it's always been. 4. How old were you when you started collecting records? That's a bit difficult question because I got my first record in the summer of 80. My second record was Christmas of 1980, Midnight Dynamos by Matchbox, and third record was Flying Colors by Matchbox in the summer of 1981. But having 3 records hardly counts as collecting records. After that there was over a 3-year break before I started buying Kiss records, first one being Rock and Roll Over. And when I started buying Kiss records, it was with the intention of buying only Kiss records, nothing else, just Kiss records. So that hardly counts as collecting records. So it must have been the following year when I started buying records from other bands. So I was 14, 15 when I started collecting records. What is the first record you got with your own money? Again, this was a bit difficult because the first record that I got money from my mom to buy that record. So was that my own money? I don't think so. So I decided on this question being like the first money that I earned by working. But I don't remember which was the first record. So I chose this one, The Great Rock and Roll Swindle by Sex Pistols, and I know that this was not the first one, but I chose this one because this was around the first 20 albums that I bought back then, and this was actually my album number 60, and when I got this I was convinced that now I had every album that I would ever want. I would never need to buy another album. Didn't work out that way. Okay, oldest record you got. Again, 2 answers to this one. In a Wee Small Hours by Frank Sinatra, originally released in 1955, but this one obviously is a reissue. So the oldest, like, first pressing of the album, I have 2 albums from this year, 1973, so I chose Hurricanes Rock and Roll All Night Long, and I got this second hand, and I happen to know that I am the third owner of this album. The first owner kept this one, bought it when it was brand new. He kept it for 5 years and sold it to his friend with the promise that he would hold on to this record for a considerable time. And 10 years later, he sold it to me with the same promise that I will hold on to this for a considerable time. And now I have had this one for 28 years, so I have kept my promise, I believe. Okay. Yeah, I could add that I do have older records on CD than the Frank Sinatra album, but I decided to stick with this one with the vinyl as best as I can. Favorite colored vinyl. I have 2 favorites. First one is this one, Rainbow Live in Munich 1977, which has got this great red splatter, and I especially love this one when I happen to take a photograph of this, and the flashlight revealed sort of sparkle inside this vinyl, which isn't to be seen without it. And the other one Kauko Röyhkä ja Narttu, Pois valoista, live 2012. This is my favorite one-colored vinyl, and this is really beautiful green color. Come on. That's more like it. Okay, a discount record you own. Okay, this one is Razzia, Elämän syke, and there's a little bit of a story here. Some years ago, a local music magazine asked on the internet site, they asked their readers that which albums they would like to see being reissued. And I mentioned the Razzia albums being among them. And sometime later, a year later, 2 years later, I don't remember, Razzia albums were issued on CD and I bought them. I didn't buy the third album, but this is the second. I bought the first and second albums. And then some years go by and these albums were issued on vinyl. So I wanted this one, but I wasn't in any hurry to buy this one. So time goes on and the price comes down from 25 to 11 euros and I got this one. So prized possession. Okay, this one again I was thinking that which valuable albums do I have, but I'm not too concerned about that thing. So I decided to approach this through emotional side, and I chose Derek and the Dominos, Layla. I just love this album. I love every single thing about this album. I love every song. I love the cover. I love the label. Yeah, I love this. This is just well, there's nothing else to say. I just love this album very, very much. So if I would be in a position where I would be asked that if I have to save one album from my collection, which one would it be? I would probably choose this one. Show a record by a female artist. Okay, I chose Suzanne Vega, Days of Open Hand, simply because Suzanne Vega is rarely seen in VC, and especially this album. I'm not sure have I ever seen this song in VC. Show a record by your favorite band. Again, I have dozens of favorite bands by today, but I chose this one. Stevie Ray Vaughan and Double Trouble, Skies Crying. All of Stevie Ray Vaughan's albums are my favorite Stevie Ray Vaughan albums, but this is the best one of the best. And yeah, I should mention one other thing. I bought this on CD, and that CD was my last record purchase of the last millennium. Show a gift. Okay, there's no story to this one. Motorhead, Ace of Spades. My friend just asked me, do you want that? Yeah, I want it. So thanks. Most played record. Okay, this one was difficult also, because I have never been in a position where I would play one record over and over again. I always play a record once and then I play something else. So nothing gets like excessive plays. That's why when people say that I've heard Hotel California from the radio a million times, I don't listen to the radio stations that plays the same stuff over and over again, and I don't listen to records over and over again. Even when I got my very first record, I still wasn't dependent on just that one album, because my older brother had other records, so I listened to those. And same thing with Kiss. When I started buying Kiss records, I wasn't dependent on the first Kiss album that I had, because my other friends had other great Kiss albums. So I've never been dependent on just one album. So I chose to show this one. A very special Christmas, a charity album released in 1987, and I got this in Christmas of 1988. And during every Christmas period, I try to listen to all of my Christmas albums. So this one has got the minimum of 28 plays, which probably places it quite high in my all-time playlists. show a rarity. Okay, this one was also a difficult thing because I was thinking that what exactly is it that I have that is a rarity, and I wasn't really coming up with anything until I remembered this single. I'm Scared by Knights of Iguana, short-lived Finnish band who released, I think, 6 singles, one of them being a solo single. All of the others are easy to find except for this one, and I happen to know that even the vocalist of this band didn't have this single, because when my brother told him that I'm collecting Knights of Iguana singles, he asked me if I have this one, and yeah, I had this. I only ever have seen this single twice, and I bought them both. Show a Rainy Day record and a feel-good record. Again, one of those things that I don't subscribe to. I don't need any. Rainy Day doesn't make me feel gloomy, and every single record that I listen to makes me feel good. That's always my main object. When I listen to a record, it makes me feel good, no matter how dark or how gloomy it is. It always makes me feel good. So I had to go with the obvious choice, Rainy Day Music by Jayhawks. And the same thing with the feel good record. Every single record I have is my feel good record. So I chose this one, Singular Adventures of the Style Council Volume 1. I chose this one because this record, for some reason, evokes the feeling of summer for me. So, well, that's a feel good record then, isn't it? Again, nostalgic record. I'm not a nostalgic person in that way, so anything that I listen to, even if I listen to my very first album, doesn't make me feel nostalgic. But this one, Stray Cats, Runaway Boys. This is such a song that when I hear this on the radio today, it still gives me the same feeling that it gave me when I first heard this 36 years ago. It's such a fantastic song, and the bass riff when it starts is just brilliant. So this is the closest that I can get you with a nostalgic record. And then show a record store day purchase. I think I have been once to the record store day on the record store day. So I don't have many, but I do have I think 4 records, and I chose to show this one, Chrissie Hynde, Dark Sunglasses. I collect the Pretender singles, so I had to have this one too. And then one that breaks the vinyl list here, show an impulse buy. I never do that. I have never bought an impulse buy, in the sense that it would be a record that I don't know anything about. I always know something about the record that I'm going to buy. I have heard it, I have heard something about it, I have read about it. I always know something about it. I never buy a record just without knowing anything about it. So the closest that I could think of was this one, Money Honey, Clyde McPhatter and Drifters, 1953-58. And with this one, this kind of thing is very common for me, that I decided to buy something that, in this case, I wanted a compilation from the Drifters that concentrates on their early years, but I had no idea what that would be. So when I saw this one, I thought, perfect, their early years, double CD, I get that one. So that is the closest that I can get to being an impulse buy. And then finally, a recent purchase, Stone Crows, Ode to John Law. This is the album from 1970, and this is my second album from Stone Crows. I have Teenage Leaks, which was released in 1972. I have that one on CD, and I bought that 19 years ago. So there was a bit of a gap between these 2 albums. Okay, that was it. Hope you enjoyed this one. Thanks for watching. Bye.